There. I think I'm live. I'm just going to be slowly working on this one. Commission piece of a really cool Titan. I already outlined it, excuse me, and everything, so I could get rid of the background. I did put like a darker layer over it. So I put multiply over it, and I basically use the same color as the background just to check. Just like sometimes this multiply layer is either the same color as the background. Sometimes it can be different if I want the light and front to be different, and other times it's just a gray layer. And if you use gray, it's not tinting it with any specific color, so it's literally just making it darker. This is a really cool Titan. I want to get some depth on it, and they probably have void shields. I don't usually think of doing a void shield. I think they have void shields, but whatever kind of shield they have, I might try to do some sort of effect with that. This would be a cool one to try it on. The worst is sometimes I jump between different pictures, and if you forget what exact color you were using. So on this one, because of the background color, I remember using the same background color for this kind of glow effect. So much, oh shoot, so much easier on some of this when I already have the automatic selection, because then when I go to put highlights on, I can make sure I stay within the lines. I'm just trying to spot some lights in here and bring a couple things forward and just start to see how it looks. Want to pop his head out kind of the most because it's an important object, and it's got a great head on this thing, so try to bring that out. The back foot, I'm going to try to throw more smoke and stuff on it, just so pushes it back. So you want that sense of scale. So, between its feet, because it's so big, it would actually be a good amount of distance. So I'm going to try to, put that in. So fake out the size. I want to get a nice glow on that plasma at some point. It's got such a nice thing. So I kind of want to do it like, it's charging up and he's, starting to raise it because it's, not going to be fully charged or firing. And I may have the other one firing. I got to, see. A lot of times I work on the point that I know it's like, hey, I know that's going to glow. So a lot of times I'll put on a layer and make the glow around that area, because then it lets me know, okay, compositionally, maybe I should have a glow up in the right corner if I put one in the bottom left, type of deal. Cool perspective on this thing. Oh, that's kind of cool. It's almost like some effect where it's heating up and it's kind of like vaporizing and steaming, moisture in the air or something around it. That's kind of cool. And a lot of times I will put a little and I'll know I want to work more on it, but I don't want to, like, sometimes you go too much and I'll add too much and it'll look bad. So I'll take a layer like this and I'll just stop working on it because I know I like this. But if I start doing whatever, you add a couple bunch of steps and then you're kind of not keen on it, I do that on another layer. So then I can always just easily take it back and get right back to where I was that I liked. Even though that little bit looks kind of cool. I'm going to leave that for now. I'll put some glow kind of on the end of the barrels and stuff, and maybe like some sparks starting to leak out later. Now I'm going to try to give it a little ground. So I want him standing, so I want my mind to start whatever, just processing the fact that he's on the ground. So I'm going to use some of this tool, makes a nice little crackly whatever. And so this lays it flat, but then what I do is I grab that layer and I distort it. If you distort it, push the back down, pull the front out, it adds perspective. So you start to get the feeling like he's on the ground. And just doing that a lot of times helps me just start somewhere. Again, like a lot of times I don't have like a firm plan in my head where I'm going with it. So I just do the parts that I know need to get done. And this thing's going to look awesome. I wonder. So I know it's going to have a lot of gold, a lot of orange going on. So, sometimes you want to put those other colors in. And I don't know. That's why I'll end up asking somebody what exact kind of gun this is or how it fires. Is it laser? Is it blaster? Is it whatever? But I'll still kind of mark in some color just so I can see if I like a blast coming out of there. And see, compositionally, it sort of bothers me that those two lights are kind of on the same level. I wish one was a little lower than the other, but this blast still might make it in because I'll have other light sources and I might want the blue. That might be too much. And another thing is, if I was doing void shields, which I am, I should have looked. I haven't even been. I have to get a bunch of the artwork together now, just so I can kind of look at it more. I haven't even really been looking at a lot of 40K artwork, So I gotta, see what kind of more void shields or what, just what they're looking like in the world, so I can put them in. I should have had that gathered already, but I gotta get a file with a nice like reference board. And a lot of times, especially on commissions, I some of my the live stream ones I tend to go through faster, and I'm trying to get them done. The commission ones, like I take a little more time. I'm debating about. I'm like visualizing if I have light like behind them. So do I put a nice big thing behind them? I can't put a bright light waist level behind them because I already basically have two lights waist level. So then that's like, okay, do you put it more in the sky above them or do you put it? And I like bright lights behind these figures because especially this one has a lot of dark in the body and you can really pop it. But at the same time, because that cannon is lit, it limits where you can compositionally put it. So it's almost like a lot of puzzle. You're starting with something and you're trying to build a composition around it instead of like traditionally if I'm drawing, I'm the one creating the exact composition for them to start. we're going to try dark. I want to put some dark behind them. This is kind of a layer set on multiply. I kind of just like how shadow looks, and on multiply it just reacts a little different. I guess I could be doing this on a normal dark layer, but see, if you do black, it loses all his parts. But I just want to see what's going on. Definitely no, it won't be that dark. And so I just lighten that layer because I don't like it, but I like the, it's so big a Titan that there's a lot of atmosphere. Hey, Tom Williamson, thanks for making it. Appreciate it. I'm just babbling, like no one was in here, and I'm just babbling to myself about the process. I'm like, I'll have to make some videos sooner or later where I talk it through. So this was a commission, and I am just working on it live stream so that they can kind of view, and I told them I would talk through the process some. Do you happen to know what kind of gun this is? The one with the blue flash? What kind of gun is that? Is it like shooting lasers or plasma, or is it shooting, I don't think it's bullets. Looks like some kind of laser. Sometimes when it's, so I have this layer on multiply, and then I lessen the opacity. And so sometimes I'm just playing with almost subtle swirls, so I can maybe start, maybe the cannon's firing and it's causing all the dust to swirl. So I start just like a light little swirl, and I'm not trying to do anything concrete because I'm almost trying to figure out what I'm doing as I'm doing it. You know, it's like, oh, did that swirl work, or did that look cool, or what happened? So I just try stuff and see how it goes. This has a strong composition. It's like just like almost like a C between the guns. So between, you got this and almost like that. So it's a nice composition shape. And so I'm almost going to try to play into that shape. And since this has got a lot of hard lines, I'm going to try to get some sort of swirls or something in there to balance out the composition. Some orange. Kind of got brown gold, so I want to put some orange kind of in the sky. You know, it's like, you know, the hot battle color. And it's got dark up there, especially in these guns, so the lighter color will go good behind it. You know, it makes them pop out nice. And I don't want to get too low because it starts competing with this laser or plasma. But the plasma, that's why I went kind of yellowish. So even an orange, it won't, it'll stand out a little bit from it. So now I'm just throwing a little, orange around, just that sense of scale again. You're going to get light bouncing off things and all that. So I like that dark area behind the blue. This blue is probably way too much or too bright, but I'm just keeping it in there for right now. Oh, this is so cool. So got the lights on the waist. So I know I'm going to light that up. I'm going to do another layer because I want them on a separate layer. That's probably a little too bright. And then sometimes, even like this, I don't like it dead bright. It stands out way too much, and it's pulling it. It's competing too much with the head. So I keep dimming it, and that's still even too much, and it looks too blurry. Down there almost looks good, but it's maybe too wimpy. So I go a little bit more, and then I can always go back and add another layer of a little bright spot. So this one has enough where it's like, okay, it's a little lit, and I think I'm okay with it. So I'll just leave it at this point, and then I go to another spot. And that's another reason I end up having so many layers, is because a lot of it I might want to turn this off, or I might hate it all. You know what I mean? The blue laser might have to go, or the other lights. So I touch on a bunch of things on a different bunch of different layers, and kind of and I'm talking myself through my process. Because someone was like, "Hey, I want to know what you're doing or why," and a couple of people commented, "Hey, it's nice to hear you talk about it." So I was literally like, I'm like, I'll try to figure out what I'm actually doing. What's my thought process? Because I notice I do bounce around a lot, but I'm trying to like work up the picture at once. Work up some of the light, work up some of the background, and so I go all around instead of like focusing on one area and then going through it. And the other streams, I'm gonna. What's this one? See, I want to put blue light glowing off his side, so I think sometimes I split a layer, I can have blue and go. Huh. See, let's get into another layer. Add an overlay on my big two light layers. And there's, I should be looking up a lot more too online with different stuff, what they're doing, because I'm sure I don't have the best process for doing this. You know, there might be other layers, etc., that work better. So since it's got a lot of warms, I'm just trying. So it's got a lot of warm colors because I started with that warm background, and I figured he's got the plasma on the right. So I'll put blue on the left of them so you get the contrast of colors. And now I'm trying to introduce a little blue, more blue onto the rest of the body to reflect that gun firing. I don't know. I want to have, it needs probably one of these lasers on his shoulders firing at least. Probably the higher one. I think it'll work better compositionally. So as I'm kind of putting this in, I'm thinking about that one as well. I had no opacity and I'm trying to add light to this thing. It's cool though. I can sometimes you just click and I'm like, okay, something's cool about it. I don't know what yet, but I'm digging it. And another reason, see, I leave it on different layers too because like this blue, I can switch it off. And then since it's commission, I don't have the person available right now, but if they're on separate layers, I can always go back and do this. Can, you know, change the hue. So it's like, hey, do you want it a, you know, bluish laser or is it purple? Or so, you know, I don't have them around, but I can always tweak. You got to watch because, you know, I got to put light elsewhere and stuff, but I'll probably check back with them. You know, I'll get this one a little more than halfway or halfway through, and then I can, you know, be like, hey, what are you thinking about this? And then do any additional little tweaks or anything. And now I'll go throw these on this layer. So these I'll probably undo them, but I'm just tossing them in to see, you know, what we're dealing with here. If I have lasers firing, do I have one? Do I have both? Do I have none? It's obviously way too bright, but, and I don't know, like right now I was just trying to see, hey, is it blue, even though this is too much light? We're going to take those out. I'm going to try a slightly darker blue. So someone asked me if these were easy. You know, like, are these easy to do? I'm like, I mean, it depends, I guess, how you look at it. It's considering how many I did in the last 8 months. See, I don't think I like blue. I think I'm going to end up going, I'll go orange. I'll try to go a different, yeah, let me try orange. Don't think I will go this one. I might have this one like have like it already fired, you know, I'll line it up some. I'm just making sure I want that top one firing. So again, like that's not a good laser blast or anything, but for right now, it lets me indicate, okay, is there going to be light here? And then I'll leave it up for a while, see, you know, see how it feels. Well, there's a couple people watching right now. Thanks for joining. Nothing special with this stream. I'm just talking things through to myself as I work on it. I know, so something this big, like it's lumbering, or you know, when that foot comes down, there's going to be like dust or whatever. So I know I'm gonna have some sort of dust coming out from the feet, like it's stomped down. So I want the first foot to show good, and then the second one is gonna get a little covered up. Plus, I want the smoke to, or whatever, dust to be a little lighter than what the ground is. So it's going to pop out and away from it. So I'm just going to try to mock in some debris from a foot stomp. That's probably way too bright. This probably is too, but I'm going to let it slide for now. I took some of the ground color and I'm just tossing it over like this back shoe and this back shoe. I keep calling them shoes. The someone said the term and I can't even think of it, but just trying to get some of that to recede a little bit. And I'm putting just a little bit of, I don't even know if that's it. Yeah, that is in the front layer. So it's like a super light layer, and I'm just throwing some dust and debris over it because you're capturing the air in between you and the Titan, so there's a lot of stuff. So it's not like I'm trying to mess with the paint job. It's just I'm adding the layer in between us and the paint job. And then what day? Tomorrow I'm going to work on that one. I'm looking forward to this one too. I got some really fun commissions, and I got some Space Wolves I got to do. Oh, how do I go to my? Oh, there we go. So right now I'm just adding just some light. I like the little specks. They break up, a lot of the smoothness of these things. And again, you're kicking up big chunks of whatever on these battlefields. So I just kind of have some of that going around. I was going to. I'll show you in a second. I use perspective blur a lot on these, but I liked where this was at after a few taps, so I'm literally going to leave this one alone and start a whole nother layer. And what I'm going to do with this layer is, so this one I'm putting too much of this stuff down, but what I'm going to do after is perspective blur it. So this point is the focal point, and then I'm pushing. I'll go here. If you look at the barrel of his gun when I do this, you'll see how that stuff gets blurry. So it all goes out from that center point. So basically, when I do that, I'm trying to fake motion. I'm putting like the environment, that blast is going off, he's moving forward. It's almost like in comics or something, it would be like speed lines. And here it's acting as a focal point. That stuff is blurry and it's pushing your eye towards the center where the Titan is. And you don't hardly see it, but it's in there. So I'm just going to leave that. And then I know I'm going to want sparks in places. I'm going to take this orange from up here, and I am going to just down by his legs and stuff. There, you know, I imagine these things would start sparking or metal rubbing or hydraulics and catching fire or whatever. So I'm trying to like just put some sparks again to kick some light. I might put some up here by this thing because I know there's going to be some. So I'm trying to add the little kind of hectic details that give it mass scale, but I'm trying to control it so I don't get all sparks everywhere. And I always figure underneath these shoulder pads and everything, there must be like sparks always raining down and under these helmets, you know. And I'm like, I start working, and then the dog is outside the door, and he's doing these soft little whines. Oh, static in the. Oh, now you're probably hearing the dog barking. Oh, static in the lake, maybe. Martin, you know, do these have void shields, or what do these things have? I'm going to need to look up void shield reference before I even do this. It's a big ass lightning rod that's striding across the dusty battlefield. Yeah. Uh-oh. The dog hears the other dog barking outside, the neighbors. So he's getting wound up. Put some sparks in here, some light, something's going on. And I'll do more on this leg than the other one because the little things like this help bring it forward as well. And with these, you got to be careful because like too much and it gets weird and like they're all over, so it almost just looks like dots instead of actual things. Warlord Titans have void shields, which are basically like mini warp generators. You detect an incoming projectile on the lake and shift it into the warp. So it's not like a glowy power field, really, in my mind, but like it rips reality apart. There was a cover that just came out, and there was a huge Titan, and it was doing the rings. And it was almost like anime where they used to do like the Robotech, where it would hit, you'd see like the rings, you know what I mean, like the energy dissipating. So I didn't know if it's kind of like that, and I haven't tried one, so I'll end up, you know, doing it later. I'm gonna look around and I'm gonna come up with a technique that'll look cool and not like a stupid floating ring. Yeah, but you know, some people depict them as big glowing. Yeah, I don't know what it's going to be, so I'll have to. I'm going to end up trying on some of these because I got to make sure it works in. I'm not used to it, so it might be a little quirky. So I want to, you know, really fit the mood on what it's going to be. Because there's probably a couple. It'll be funky because there's room probably on this for a couple, but I'll have to see. Because if I do it that way, you have to have a whole sphere around them. Not like a whole sphere, but it has to be indicated well to know exactly that there's like a shield. Otherwise, it just looks like some floating weird thing. Yeah, the wobbly, thick air sort of thing. Yeah. So we'll figure out what sort of thing I end up doing with that. I'll look some more up. Because it's got room for it. I could put some, I don't know where I would put them, see. I don't know if I'd have like, it gets difficult. See, yeah, Martin. I part of me always wants to do big explosions on them, and sometimes I tone it down. So I was like, oh, some days someone's have like some destructed one. I think I saw someone with some big torn up pads. You know, they sculpted it that way, and I was like, oh, I put some total stuff there. So yeah, and I'm probably gonna have incoming gunfire on this. I want to make sure it doesn't get crazy. Like I think I got something strong here going on. So there's a fine line of making it cool and then just straight up Liberace flair. Let me see what I did so far. Yeah, I definitely like the orange laser blast better than the blue. Reference from the Dan Abnett Titan graphic novel covers. Will do. I'll look those up after this for sure because I haven't seen many. Oh, the Goblin Grotto. Do you Goblin Grotto? Do you want to join? Can you join now or oh no, you are probably working. We might. I'm gonna have a second part of this one or whatever, so you might be able to hop on during that. I just know I've got a lot going on right now, so I kind of got to work while the working's good. And if you can answer yes or do you want the blue laser blast? This one? Do you want this blue? I liked it blue, but if you had a reason for it to be a different color, I can shift it. Oh, he's even got look at the painted little lights on there. Oh my gosh! I look at these, I paint these over, and you stare at me, the amount of detail that goes into painting this. I don't even want to know how many hours that it took you to paint this thing. It's a true work of art, my friend. Look at on his thigh. Look at all that. That's intense. That's why you feel like they did those whatever that repainter where they try to whatever touch up those classic works of art and it comes out totally distorted. Yeah, wait, I want to put these lights on so I remember they're there. I think they were reddish. Yeah, you're currently working. We'll have you on again to talk about this thing because I want to talk about it. Just because I want to know all the stuff that's going on with it. This is intense. There's like markings everywhere. Go a little more red. And Martin, I'll make sure to tell you how long it takes me to paint mine when they arrive. It won't be nearly as long as this probably took. No, this thing is some intensity going on here. It's like I do these and I live vicariously through them because I know I ain't painting something like this. No, it's not lasers. Maybe it is a little laser coming, like just a little. Maybe almost like the indication where it's infrared. I don't know. I'll leave it for now. I kind of like it. That's why I'm always bouncing around because I'm trying to work up the whole thing at once. And I will have to take probably like a 2-minute little pause because the dog is still there, softly whining like I'm the coolest person ever. It's like a little guilty one. It's like, just that. That's all he does. Yep. Now, what are we going to do? I want to see about some. I always think like crackling air. Okay, so the Goblin Grotto, who commissioned this, said honest answer. About 3 months it took me to paint. Okay, absolutely, that sounds about right. I'm still adding more here and there. She has a backstory I'd love to jump in and chat about with you. Yeah, we will. We'll do. I'll come back to this one time and we'll work on it more, and we'll definitely chat about this because I want to hear about the story too. Look at this flag. Oh, the banner. This is intense. I wouldn't even see. I would get this all fun. There's no way I'm going to take this on the battlefield and let someone blow it up. Are you crazy? It would get retired and put in a garage, never to see battle because it's too good. I'd have emotional attachments. I get emotional attachments to my minis, and then it's hard for me to go put them into battle. Okay, so I won't do it around his foot yet. I like it. I like that little crackle. That looks cool. Just a little crackle there. Some of it I take the blender tool on and blend back out just to soften some parts of it. And some of these I work on to a point where it's like, okay, am I comfortable with it? And I get it to a point where I'm like, okay, it's the right direction. I know I'm comfortable with it. And then sometimes I pause. Like, I'm going to work a little bit longer on this, on certain details, and then I'm going to take a pause for the cause because I know I'm doing the right thing. And then I kind of just, I let it just sit in my head, let it simmer for a while and get fresh eyes and then come back and be like, okay, hey, I didn't think about this before. So it's a little different. The commissions I treat a little differently than, the ones where I'm go, 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 go. Uh-oh. I might have to end sooner than I thought because the dog's actually barking now for little barks. I like the laser gun. I know I'll have some more spark. I want some like sparks falling down. I always like sparks on these things. Under the neck always, it makes it like sense of scale, but I'm not sure I'm quite ready for more sparks yet there. Ground, I might put some cracking or like some. I'm debating. I love doing this, like, almost like when the. Well, this is probably the wrong color, but you'll get the point. The ground's cracked with like flame coming up from it, but it can get quirky if you do it wrong too. Yeah, so that's all in another layer. So a lot of times I add a bunch of stuff and then I wipe half of it out because I get too much, but I still like to try it. And just little points of like that sometimes just add to that depth and stuff going on in there. Look at this arm. I think like I was looking at Titans or whatever, and I think some of these arms are like $180 just for the arm. Oh, another yellow light? I didn't see this one. Oh, that looks cool. And a lot of this, I'm still going over. Like I zoom in and go over it just to catch little things like that. It's like, okay, put that light in, make it bright. Like you try to pay attention to all the details that Goblin Grotto put in here because it's intense. I'll make that shoulder emblem a little bit so it's got the nice. See, now is where you lose track of wherever you're at. This cool, the chaos symbol. I want to kind of. Can I brighten that a bit? And this is where you get a little wonky with the layers. See, a lot of times you try something like this and then see it's dulling the color too much. So I'm not going to go that route. The Goblin Grotto says, I am yet to put it on the tabletop, but I'm dreading seeing it get shot into pieces. Martin, I'd love to see yours when you get them. Let me know if you want any tips. Right on. Oh, yeah. Don't let this thing get blown up. Like, worse yet, some, like, reactor thing where you pull some move and it just blows up. Just trying to highlight some of the stuff around the barrel, you know, like it's firing, just little things you probably don't even notice when you're zoomed out, but it's, you know, trying to add that depth. Okay, I am going to go, give me 5 seconds to deal with the dog. I'm going to work a little bit more, but I'm going to pause this and be back in like. There, I think I got back before the time lapse was up. There. And I cracked open a Red Bull. They say it gives you wings. Probably kidney stones. Above the shoulders. So, yeah, these things. He says, to be fair, if it's going down, it takes out half the table with its nuclear reactor. Then I'll be happy. Totally. Okay, above its head, are these? They got to be vents of some sort, correct? Those. I usually put like stuff coming out of them, and I just want to make sure I'm doing the right thing with those. In Goblin Grotto, if you hear, how did you hear about me or see the work? Was it from YouTube with like the Titan with Leon, or did you like, you know, Instagram or something, Facebook? Okay, thank you. He says, yeah, they're intake vents for the generator, so they're often seen to be glowing. Yeah, so I'm trying out some glow, and then I'm like, it's one of those, well, erase it. Was it too much? But I usually put it in and see. These miniatures make me nerd out so hard. I love it though. Like I could just study all these little details on these stupid miniatures forever. It's like, oh yeah, that's cool. Oh, how did they paint that? I love the wearing, and you got the like this the coming down from these. That's so cool. The Mars, I like that Mars on there too. Apocalypse 85, thanks for joining. I really like the glow for the intake vents. Really adds to the living engine vibe. Thanks. That's kind of what I'm, you're trying to make that sense of this is, this thing is living, because the paint, the scheme and everything on this is so cool, and then you just try to add that little stuff like, hey, this thing's actually doing something. So many great takes. The little lights on this thing is incredible. Ah, Goblin Grotto, thank you. You did some work for a fellow member on the Titans Owners Club. Yeah, Lee, the Forge of Mars. We're going to, not this Wednesday, but probably the Wednesday after. I want to confirm with him. We're going to start trying to do a regular, I don't know if it's a show or a live stream or whatever it will be, but we're going to try to do something more regular. I liked chatting with him, and I learned a lot. And the whole concept of the Titan Owners Club, I didn't know it was a thing until I talked to him, and it's just so cool because it's, I don't know, it's like, the people who own Porsches have that, and these are, I don't know, they're worthy of a club. People put so much work and effort into these. I think it's great that they're, a group celebrating it. So now here I'm just trying to put a little, if they're intake valves, maybe I have like steam, some kickback steam, and I'll kind of push the orange a little bit. And I have it on a separate layer, so if I want to try it different colors, blue wouldn't work or whatever. I think orange is going to be the best color. You got to make sure it doesn't. I like putting a lot in because a lot of those old, I love the old, White Dwarf box covers, always explosions and colors and all that, but you got to control it or you get a clown fest. Wow, 6 viewers. Thanks for joining. All when I'm like getting ready to stop, it's like people join, so I'm like, okay, maybe I'll try to keep going. And I am live streaming. So tomorrow, I think it's tomorrow. Yeah, I think I'm working on this one tomorrow. So that's the one I'm going to work on tomorrow on stream. And then the next day, Wednesday, I have Lonely Havocs on, and I might work on one of his. And I'm going to do more on this plasma. The plasma gun will look cool. I want to get it properly charged up, like he's, getting ready to charge it, lift it, and fire. putting some up here because if this laser was firing, it would kind of light up the smoke and stuff around it. So I'm trying to, like, you know, fake that. And I don't know. It looks too rounded here. So I'm going to take a blender and push it. And we'll see. If I don't like it, I take it out. Yeah, just a little. That adds to it. And by the way, Goblin Grotto, thanks a lot for commissioning me. Appreciate it. Helps pay the bills and keeps the little empire growing. These chains. Oh my, I was erasing around these chains. Apocalypse 85. If you don't mind me asking, what programs are you using for the project? The way you explain both your process and you're doing something as well as a rationale behind it is really engaging. Oh, thank you. Yeah, I'm so new to this. I don't know what people want to hear. You know what I mean? So I was like, okay, I'll just, you know, babble about what I'm thinking. I am using on an iPad. I'm using Procreate. I have an iPad Pro. um, and I have Procreate. I love this. I love it. I want to shill for Apple. I get no kickbacks for Apple, this program Procreate, but I'd shill for both of them because they're great. Just really smooth program. And another one I'd shill for that I get nothing out of is I'm using Switcher Studio from my iPhone and iPad to stream, and it's works out a lot better. I tried Streamlabs and had no luck, so I went to this one, and although you got to pay for it every month, it lets me have guests on and streams really nice. I have to get used to just sitting alone and talking to myself, and that's okay. Spray paints luminescence. Some sparks. I guess I have a thing for sparks, sparkles, glitter. I guess I would be all glitter. Oh, hang on. This is the gigantic Forge World Warlord. Or the this is the Forge World, Martin. This is like the huge one. I'm pretty sure it's like the same one as like Lee's. Like they're big old. Yeah. Here, wait, look. Cause here, check it out. um, here's the original photo. Wait, there. So there's in comparison, so you can see the. It just cracks me up. Look at the size of this thing. This is a monstrosity. Look at these. Like, I think these guys are huge, these things, and then I just see this thing stacked next to it, just like stone. Oh, this thing is so cool. I'm looking it over real quick just because I have the tint and, you know, shaded down. I want to make sure I'm not missing little pieces that would look cool. I see the red hoses. I'm going to make those glow red. Oh, he's got yellow back here. See, I didn't even notice that. The yellow, I might try to play that up. Makes sense with their, oh, yep. And I'll have that glow. Good thing I did this. Yeah. Yeah, Martin, I seen that face. Yeah. Um, yep. This is the Forge World one, says Apocalypse 85. Yeah, yours will take a little less than 3 months. Yeah, this thing, whew, it's a lot of work. But I mean, for this, I mean, this is like showpiece forever. I'd be so proud of this thing. I'd be driving around with the hood on it'd be on the hood of my car. Like, mount this on your hood, go driving around. Yeah, Martin, that huge power fist, the power claw. I was looking the other day, I think it's Forge World, and I saw, people were talking about it, and I just, I almost wanted to order one, even though I have no reason for one, just because I'm like, well, what if it ever runs out? And I want one. Yeah, it would need its own bedroom. This thing is. All right, let me try to do a little more. So I saw red hoses. I want to get those lit up. Yeah, and it was funny. Like I didn't know anyone. I didn't know Lee. You know what? I can't remember. Oh, I saw his Titan picture, and I was like, oh, I think that would make a good paint over for the show. And so I was just like, okay, I'll have him on. And then I didn't know he was going to know a whole bunch of people that had really cool Titans and everything. So it was just funny that I was talking to him live and learning all about this stuff. Sometimes you can, like, if you zoom in, a lot of times I'll start zooming in and I'll work on some stuff and it'll be super small, and then when I zoom back out, I realize, oh, I was working at the wrong scale. It's like some things, the scale will be a little off, and you're putting too fine a lights when it should be bigger. DD606, Daz, thanks for making it looking good, dude. Appreciate it. Thanks for swinging by. See, and then that could use, and this is where my layers get all blown out of confusion land, because now I just be like, oh, this is an overlay layer and I can put it on this one. I want that glow a little bit in here. This was a nice little detail. Just want to amp the glow up a little bit. And then here, so this is, I'm on that overlay layer, which you just have to play with it to see how it treats light differently. And so you can see that if I just go this, it just adds that effect. So it's almost like another brighter layer of, like, I don't know, steam or whatever coming out of here. So I'm just trying to make that a little more solid and not too much, because it can be too much pretty quick. Making me want to do more AT. Oh yeah, but see, that's what we just talked about, Daz. This isn't AT. This is that big boy. He, Goblin Grotto says, "Well, it's worth it. It's an investment, but I can happily say I got my money's worth with Hobby Time. It has its own bedroom. It's taken up mine." It's like laying next to you. You wake up in bed, which is next to you. But yeah, I've been thinking about AT. I seen Bad Poncho Paint was talking about it, and then Mal's getting into it, and like who else? You know, I talked to Lee. He already has it like big scale. They all got Titans. You know, I liked them the whole time before, and it's just like, oh boy. Trying to pull some like the light, or I'm going to put some sparks. So again, I'm just adding atmosphere, more little things like this, like the light is just pushing past the body. So that's more things that kind of wrap him into the environment, or her. Martin, the potato mage, you wake up with the bed soaked in oil and the warlord's head just laid on a pillow beside you. This is a message from the God Emperor of mankind. Sleeps with the fishes. This is when you forget what layer you're on, and then it all falls apart from here, people. This is where all the layers just get more and more and less, and things are intertwined. And there's some teacher out there who teaches like Photoshop or something like that, and they'd end up watching this. What are you doing? Do not do this. That is the last way you want to do layers control. They'll probably pull this up in class as an example of what not to do. Whatever you do not do layers like this, clown. All right, we're gonna remember that layer's there at some point. But for right now, I want to try some sparks. So some wee little fire particles. And so these are just, they're like fire particles. So if you put them big, they would look like that. So they're a little different than these little luminescent orbs I do. And I mean, I put them in, you ain't even going to see this when you zoom out, but it's still there, and it still kind of adds, you know, that depth or whatever. So I want, you know, some of these kind of things, some of the sparks are falling, and just get that. I'll even put a, no, I won't put them there, but I might have some by this gun. We'll see later, but they have to be brighter. So I'm literally just picking a few spots, and I want that falling sparks from in here. That's too big. And I like it sometimes under the shoulder pads because you got that nice dark area. So then I try to play in that so the sparks kind of show up and give it more life. I'm doing some sparks from here, but I'm going to try something, and then I'm just going to lasso around this and put some perspective blur. So I'm trying to have it, and you won't even see, but if you zoom in, See how that blurs them? And all I'm trying to do is like, it's almost, you're trying to fake the fact that this gun isn't moving, but you're trying to make it look like it's moving up away from those sparks, so like he's raising it. And when I zoom back out, you're not even going to see any of this stuff, but just on a small level, the little things kind of add up, and it's too many, so then I kind of smudge it around and wipe some out, and you're just left with just a few of them. But sometimes on that, it's all it needs, and then I try little spots like that. And then if I like the effect or think it needs more, then I keep, adding more. But I just try a little bit, and if I dig it or it's not too much, I kind of leave it. There might be explosions or something in the ground here. I know on the front I'm going to want something. I don't know if it's like a roll of smoke to give it depth. So typically, and I think a lot in comic book terms because I draw like a bunch of stuff and I love them. So you kind of want, in like an interesting composition, you'd have middle ground, foreground, background. So you got nice elements, so you stack your depth. And right now I basically have middle ground and background, but I really don't have anything in foreground. And this blue light almost counts. Like, it to me, it almost counts as foreground, but because he's turned kind of on the side and that, so. But I want a couple things maybe by his feet. Maybe there's some other explosions or whatever that kind of wrap well and stick in the front. And there might be some incoming gunfire on this one and stuff. And like I said, for a commission, I take it kind of slow, and I end up staring at it a lot like this while I work on it, because I'm like, oh, do I want a darker smoke in in front, or would it be lighter, or should it be an explosion? So I'm almost working on it in my mind, and I just stare and kind of move things, and then if I know there's an area, like, just for right now, when I look at this, I want to make the chains shine a little more, and when I zoom out, I basically lose those chains that are holding up that banner, so I want to make them a little lighter. And what I'm going to do is select here. And now all I'm going to do is, I'm on the tinted layer, I'm going to wipe out some of that tinting, and it's going to push those chains forward. So we're going to bring these chains out like that. Might have been a bit much on the corner. Oh, I forgot the vent on the side of this gun. I can put some blue sparks coming out of that. Yeah, I just want that chain a little to show. So now that I remember, luminescence, this tool, oh my gosh, the worst layers ever. Where was something at least to do with light? I will put it, oh, I can do it on this one. Put up the rest of that. I'm going to have, I think this might work. We'll see. Again, this is where you can go into clown show territory where you start putting too much, but I usually like to try it and then figure out if it's too much or. Yeah, it's kind of wimpy. It looks like, so it's like lack of commitment where you're like, oh, either I don't know, so you don't want to do it too big. And that's the joy of digital. Like, I can try all this stuff and then wipe it out. Whereas, like, if you were painting something, you can't do this. That's why I have so much respect for these people painting all these things. Like, oh man. And it's funny because it's like I become institutionalized with digital drawing, and I started by hand. So it's like always, you know, eraser pen, pen and ink, all that stuff, and there's no take backs, and now it's Take Back City. See, and then I didn't like the big one. I didn't like a little bit. Now I'm just like a super little bit. Maybe I can. What if I put like a soft? No, you can't do that. And I mean, this is what a lot of paintover is, and that's why I didn't know, like streaming. I was like, how am I going to stream this? And does it look? I watch it. I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm like, is someone really going to want to watch someone who's just like putting down lines and then undoing them 30 times? Oh, I want to like it, but see, and then something like this, what I'll do, it's on this layer, but it's far enough away where I can erase it still. It's on this layer and it won't compete with the light. So for now, I'm going to leave that and see how I feel about it as I keep working. In Goblin Grotto, if you're still here, what is this? What Legion faction or what is this one? Forgive my ignorance on the subject. I'm gonna go. He needs some sparks in here. You know, I got him elsewhere, and I gotta just find the right way to. Usually, like the creases or something. You know, I try to be like what would actually be glowing or heating up, possibly. And a lot of the little stuff, I'll have little stuff coming off. It's like because I erased all around it. It's a clean, crisp line all the way around. And so a lot of the tiny little details, like someone who is this thing I just painted on there, no one's ever going to even come close to seeing that. But if you do a bunch of it, it's the same with this little bit of steam and smoke right around here. It breaks up that silhouette and it, puts it more into the environment. Oh, Daz Tempestus. Oh wait, he just answered. Um, Hello, it's Legio. Oh man, this is why another reason I can't pronounce anything. Leo, Legio Presagius. Someone's gonna have to figure that out. Not many Forge World Titans are painted as such. Ah, okay. Is that what? Look at this banner. I just look at all the little detail. Look at next to the axes, it has like all the little tiny the writing. Look, that's insane. Oh, he said Tempestus was my second choice, but the checkerboard designs made me decide against it. I guess. I mean, this one seems so intense. I don't even know. Yeah, I guess the checkerboard could be a little more tedious on a lot of the stuff, but this is a work of art. Thanks for letting me play with it, dude. And we'll get you on. We'll figure out a day, and when I do some more stuff on it, Goblin Grotto, I'll have you on and we can talk about this. I think it'll be cool. I can have, when I do live streams, I can have multiple people on too. So it's like I want to kind of control it, but it would be cool since you kind of know Lee or whatever. When me and him are kind of doing a show, we can have someone else drop in. So I have to get used to controlling it and all that kind of stuff. But I definitely would like that idea, and it's something I want to work towards. That's why, like today, I wasn't even gonna stream, but I'm like, you gotta stream tomorrow, the next day. I'm like, just get in there and do it, and get in the habit. And I was kind of solo, so I'm like, well, I'll talk about the process, and then I don't know, maybe later I can take clips out of this or something. We'll see. I'm just bouncing around here, adding little bits of light, and my like I don't even know if my favorite part. It doesn't even. I think this is my favorite little part. These little the hoses you had lit up for some reason. I just like that little piece on the back right there. It kind of, from an artistic point, it works so well with the darker shadow in front of it, and it just frames it great. It really gives that arm bend and everything. And I might blur that flag, like the bottom of the flag here. So that's what I'm going to do too. So what I do is I take some of the sections. I want to make this as like flapping, and I don't want to mess up all his work. So I take this, I outline just this flag, probably only half of it, and then I'm going to perspective blur it. I'm going to move this down. All I'm trying to do is get the bottom to have some blur to it. I don't want to blur out all the work he did, but I want that bottom to blur a little, like he's walking or it's blowing in the wind. So I'm trying to fake that and not wipe out cool detail. Didn't do it too much, but just enough. I'm going to do the same thing with the chains. The Goblin Grotto says the banner was designed by my good friend, so all credit to him, but for sure it's my last shift tonight for the week. So whenever is best for you. Oh, good to know, Goblin Grotto. Sorry, I'm sorry. I want to get some more people, especially when they create like these huge masterpieces, to talk to them. But I also kind of got to just like work while the work is good. But yeah, we'll definitely have you on to talk about this thing. This is amazing to me. I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm going to blur some of these chains. Just a bit. And again, probably no one would even notice this, or maybe, but it's like if you do enough of the little things, it kind of all adds up. Like in something this size, everything's kind of in motion and blurring and battle, and so all the crisp edges. If everything's too crisp in a photo, it literally detracts from the realism, I guess, that you're going for. And I try not to do it too much because you're not. I don't want to wipe out their work. You know, you're just trying to accentuate it a little. Gamagrado, thank you for working your magic on this. Loving it thus far. Thank you very much. I'm glad. So I'm gonna keep. You know, we'll get back, and there might be some gunfire going on or some void shield things. I'm probably gonna, end up stopping here in a little bit because I'm liking this. I just, I like to, like I said, simmer it in my mind for a while because I think I got some really cool things going on here. And then, maybe we'll get you on, and I can like finish up some stuff and work some more on it. Although there's going to be a lot when I'm playing with the lasers. If I'm doing lasers and I want to do foreground explosions, it is just like the ever-going cycle of try it, erase, take it off, put it on. So it's almost like a tedious thing. I kind of I did a lot of the stuff I knew I was going to want, So it's like, okay, I know I'm doing this, I know I'm doing that, and then it's getting down to the things that are, almost like not the most difficult, but like that foreground element. I must have thought about it a few hundred times. What am I going to do? It's like I keep visualizing, okay, a little fireball like this, a little explosion like that. Is it black smoke? Is it, explosion with a plume of black smoke so you can get some more black in there? And I just stare at it, and you're working on it. You're just not, putting strokes down yet. And the lasers I might have cutting through some smoke or something. I'm going to try a few things. And I'm going to look at, I think I'll scroll through here again. I think Potato Mage said the Dan Abnett books. I think it was for the Titan ones, but I'll make sure I get it because I want to look up a few. Ooh, I kind of know what I want to do here, though. Maybe something like... Hmm. See, and then as I'm literally working on it and talking about it, so I was like, had a little light pen, and I'm like, okay, is it light? Is it dark? Is it light? Is it dark? Explosion. And then I just decided to put, if you could, you probably saw them go down, I don't know, these right in here. I put that little bit of light, almost, in like anime or something, if they like stomp their foot, there's almost like speed lines or energy or something coming from it. So I'm kind of like, okay, steal a little from that. And like, that even something like that adds motion. It kind of like, it represents like the foot touchdown and energy or whatever's coming off of it. So, yeah, I'm trying to add that and start forcing that depth. And I can still do explosions and stuff, but I know it's an effect that'll work on it. So I was like, okay, put it in. And I think I like that there. I'll end up doing more with the blue. We'll see about the blue energy. I don't want to get carried away, but I'll probably do a little more like crackle or something coming off that. And I'll probably like maybe some black smoke coming off its back at some point. I might do that like off of, maybe I'll do it over here. So I go a layer below. I'm going a layer below the Titan itself. And then I just want to see You know, sometimes I just toss in some smoke, maybe like have it like it was, you know, smoking off the back end or something. And I don't know how I'll feel about it yet, but we'll see. Oh, it could be coming off that arm, but that even might be too low. That's interesting. So even that, like, I'm not happy with where this is at right now with the smoke, but I leave it because it's kind of, I can see it adding depth and stuff, so I'm gonna leave it for now, and it might get wiped out, or I might play with it because it bothers me a bunch to leave up there. But I think there's a cool possibility, and we'll see. What if I put some behind here? See, that wouldn't go. I think on that note, I will call it good for now and end the stream. So Goblin Grotto, Daz, Potato Mage, anyone else who I may have forgotten who joined, I really appreciate it. And I will be live streaming at what I think 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time tomorrow. So kind of like almost the same time, no, a little earlier. And 5 o'clock the Eastern Standard Time the next day. So if anyone wants to make it or ask questions or join, and Goblin Grotto, I will be in contact with you again, and we'll set something up for a day for you to hop on and go over some of this stuff. All right, thank you very much, and we're gonna hit the end button.